Hello YouTube and fellow DC Comic fans! I'm Kelly One Shot, and this is the Post-Crisis Podcast. And today, we're going to talk about Flash Forward number 1 from DC Comics, written by Scott Lobdell, with artwork by Brett Booth. Okay, so this book actually takes place later on after the events of Heroes in Crisis, where Wally West actually lost control of his powers as he was healing at Sanctuary, killed a bunch of people, tried to cover it up by killing a future version of himself and leaving the dead body, and 13 heroes died in the incident. And we actually start this off with Tempest the Fugonaut, which, if you do not know him, he is from the Sideways series, which was written by Dan DiDio during DC Rebirth. It was a part of their new age of superheroes. Either way, he's a cosmic being of sorts who is in charge of the divide between the dark multiverse and ours, and sadly the dark multiverse is spreading throughout all the 52 known multiverses that we know and love, and it is corrupting them as the darkness has nowhere to fall to, and one dark planet apparently refuses to die as they're supposed to die. They're supposed to live out dark nightmares that are created in our world that are never to be, and they're just supposed to die off, but there's one that is still living on, and it is causing the darkness to rise and spread throughout our multiverse. And this worries Tempest, and this is some of the stuff that was dealt with in the Sideways series. Either way, we then go to a flashback of the events of Heroes in Crisis, where we see Roy Harper talking to Wally West, and they're just having a playful back and forth about expired food, this and that. We see Roy walk out the door, and then we actually come to the present day, and it's Wally West in a jail cell with a power inhibitor around his neck, blocking his Speed Force powers, and he says that he's Wally West, the loneliest man alive, and he only has himself to blame. He's talking about this is a punishment, this is for everybody's safety, he lost control, sleep is impossible, he doesn't deserve dreams, peace, forgiveness, redemption. After everything he's done, he doesn't deserve any of it. We see him in a jail cell, he's getting yelled at, he's just kind of going through his daily life at Blackgate Supermax Prison, because most of the criminals are at Blackgate currently, because Iron Heights has been destroyed in recent Flash issues that you might have seen happen, and so this is where Wally and several other people are. And several of the criminals are trying to make a name for themselves, so they're trying to take out Wally, and he actually has the back of some other criminals who try to help him, just really because they want to watch him suffer. And it's weird here because a lot of the villains seem to know who Wally West is, and we're going to touch on that in a few moments. It's here that Wally actually gets a visitor here, and it's Linda Park, and Wally discusses how that's his wife in a former timeline. They had 2 kids together, Jay and Irie, and these kids don't exist anymore. They're from an alternate timeline before things were tampered with and messed with by events that happened to the timeline. She's here to interview Wally about everything that happened. She says that he's done a lot of good in this world and maybe he does deserve redemption. He doesn't agree because so many people have died and they didn't get another chance. We then actually go into an interlude in this story where we see it's somewhere on the cusp of the multiverse. We just see a random Thanagarian doing his thing. He opens this big door in some ancient place, and he actually finds the Mobius chair, which has been abandoned by Metron a long time ago. We actually seen Batman sit down in the Mobius chair at the end of Darkseid Wars, and he asked, "Who's the Joker?" And he said, and the chair said, "Which one? There's 3 Jokers," and we still haven't touched in on that. What's up, Jeff Johns and Jason Fabik? Can we get that story or what? Waiting years for that story. Darkseid Wars was a long time ago. Either way, we see the Mobius chair, and this Thanagarian just tries to sit down on the chair and take on all of its cosmic knowledge and information. It sits down on the chair, boom, he's dead. Just like that. He can't handle the weight of the cosmic responsibility of this infinite knowledge being hurled at him all at once. He's like many others who thought he could sit down and have the hubris and own the Mobius chair, but no one owns the chair owns you. We then go back to Blackgate, where we again just see Wally. He's kind of going over that night. He's talking about the events that happened during Heroes in Crisis, how he kind of lost control, he killed everybody, he tried to set it up, he tried to kill a future version of himself. How did he ever thought that this was a good idea? How did he ever think that this would work? Then we actually go back to the cell of Wally West, where he is suddenly attacked by Girder and Tar Pit, who we actually seen in recent issues of The Flash, and they have their powers here. Their inhibitors aren't activated. They say that if you bribe anyone, you can get anything here, and the two of them are attacking Wally because they know that he was the Flash and all the things that the Flash has done to them, and Wally in particular. This, again, like I touched on earlier, is odd to me because since Wally came back at the beginning of Rebirth, only a handful of people know who Wally West is. And even though his story was discussed during the news after the events of Heroes in Crisis, I don't know how publicly that was discussed. Probably very, I would imagine, because he did leak out all that information, all of those tapes, all that knowledge for the world to see, and so that people could see that even heroes suffer. And that was a great story. I'm one of the people who actually did like that story, and I was waiting to see how Wally West would be handled after that. This is that issue finally, and it's weird because these two villains know who he is. They shouldn't know who he is. They shouldn't remember the things that happened because that timeline was altered and history was stolen and taken away. So it's poor writing in my part, and Scott Liddell's part, I think, and missed foresight in this fact that it's just skipped over and missed. So they're beating up Wally West, and then all of a sudden his power inhibitor breaks off his neck. He gets his powers back. He easily defends himself and fights them off, but then suddenly a dimensional tear happens, and Tempest actually runs into Wally West. Wally's confused. He doesn't know who he is, but suddenly he's pulled into this in-between interdimensional area that Tempest is from, and he's traveled all this way looking for Wally. Wally's like, I don't know what this place is. And then it's kind of explained in a bad way by Tempest to Wally that essentially the multiverse is being taken over by the dark multiverse, is being corrupted, that Wally has a greater purpose here, and that he needs to not doubt himself and just go on this mission. He doesn't explain it to Wally very well. He doesn't explain it to us very well. Wally's just kind of like, I don't really know what you're talking about, bro. I don't want to help anybody. And then he tells him that he needs the fastest being in all the multiverse to save the worlds affected by this cataclysm and ultimately destroy the anomaly causing all of it. Wally's like, yo man, I ain't doing this. I don't got the skill sets to do it. You picked the wrong guy to save the world or the worlds. And then again, Tempest poorly explains it to him. Then he tells Wally that he's only seen a glimpse of the power that Wally now wields since he's become an unmoored. I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to look it up. Wally questions. He's like, what do you mean? And then Tempest is like, I don't need to explain myself. I made it clear. I'm not asking you for your help. You're destined to serve the cosmos. And he attacks Wally with his blaster, which puts his Flash suit on him. Wally thought he was never going to see his suit again. And then he's seemingly sent through the multiverse randomly, where he goes to Earth 23 of all places, and he ends up talking to Calvin Ellis, the Superman of Earth number 23, and the President of the United States of that Earth. He was actually created in 2009 during the events of Final Crisis by Grant Morrison, and he was actually supposed to be based on, loosely, Barack Obama. He's the President and Superman of Earth number 23, and he's telling Wally to stand back. He's the President. He must not fall. He's all beat up and bloody, and it looks like he's facing some kind of danger, probably from the Dark Multiverse, and that's probably why Wally is here. I didn't think that after Heroes in Crisis that the way to redeem Wally West was to send him on a cosmic journey to stop the corruption spreading from the Dark Multiverse. I thought that maybe we should go on a much more deeper and personal tale, written a little bit better, thought out a little bit better. I'm not a huge fan of this issue in this direction for the character. I hope that people like it. I hope that it gets better, but I'm kind of worried about this series starting off right from the get up. We'll see what happens. I was hoping for more from Wally, and I was hoping that his redemption would seem more meaningful opening up, and it wouldn't just be like rushed into a cosmic journey and thrown into Earth 23 all within one issue. I don't know what this is. I'm going to keep reading it to find out. Wally's one of my most favorite characters, and I actually did like all of Heroes in Crisis and how Wally cracked under the pressure and how he showed the world that even heroes have problems, that everybody can succumb to things and pressure and lose control, and that he knew that redemption is something that he could do. I don't know what this issue is. Let's see what happens going forward from here. Either way, like I said, not a huge fan of this issue, but I am Kelly One Shot. You can find this video here on my channel, youtube.com/oneshottheory, as well as comicbooklegion.com, where you can check out this video, other podcasts from other contributors, other written reviews from other contributors. Great site, check it out. Follow us on Twitter as well. I'm there as well, Kelly One Shot. I am your host. You take care, have a great day, and goodbye.